invite you all to today's debating forum organized by Bahumata Vichara Mancha on the contemporary topic, Is War a Design by Imperialism, with our Chief Speaker, Dr. Manoj from the Department of Economics, Ravenshaw University. Our forum aims to inspire critical thinking, respectful debate, and intellectual growth among students and scholars. We believe in fostering an environment where ideas clash constructively, leading to deeper understanding and insightful perspectives. With this, I want to welcome Aryan Behera, my senior, to preside over the program.
Now I want to request Professor Manoj Kumar, the speaker in today's debate and discussion, to grace the dais. Please, sir. With him, we have Professor Ravenshaw. He is the former HOD of the Department of Political Science and the Ground Scholar, and Dr. Kiti Ranjan Pandey, Assistant Professor of Economics Department. Then Dr. Kumar, he is also the Assistant Professor of Economics. After him, Dr. Sangamitra Parida, Assistant Professor in Department of Economics. Before inviting convener Vinod Sethi to speak on the importance of debate and discussions, I would like to put light on a debate, on a speech of Marco Rubio. He is the Secretary of State, United States. What he has said in the Unique Security Conference, believe me or not, he has actually said this. So this is Marco Rubio. This is the path that President Trump and the United States has embarked upon. It is the path we ask you here in Europe to join us on. It is a path we have walked together before and hope to walk together again. For 5 centuries, before the end of the Second World War, the West had been expanding, and its missionaries, its pilgrims, its soldiers, its explorers pouring out from its shores to cross oceans, settle new continents, build vast empires, extending out across the globe. But in 1945, for the first time since the age of Columbus, it was contrary. Europe was in ruins, half of it lived behind an iron curtain, and the rest looked like it would soon follow. The great Western empires had entered into terminal decline, accelerated by godless communist revolutions and by anti-colonial uprisings that would transform the world and drape the red hammer and sickle across vast swaths of the map in the years to come. Against the backdrop, then, as now, many came to believe that the West's age of dominance had come to an end, and that our future was destined to be a faint and feeble echo of our past. But together, our predecessors recognized that decline was a choice, and it was a choice they refused to make. This is what we did together once before, and this is what President Trump and the United States want to do again now, together with you. So believe me or not, he has actually said this kind of statement in his security conference. So yes, 1945 meant something for us. It was the era of decolonization. Yes, Columbus meant something for Americans because it was the era of colonizing America. So this is the naked truth of imperialism that is happening in today's time. And now I would like to invite convener Vinod Sethi, and he will speak a few lines on debate and discussions in university and college campuses.
Thank you. Good afternoon to one and all. Respected all my teachers and my friends. Upon the design venture from the very inception of 2009, we started here at Ravenshaw University with the mindset that we wanted to develop an atmosphere among the students regarding not to accept anything blindly or not to oppose anything blindly. While accepting or objecting anything, I must have sufficient debates, logics and arguments. On the basis of that, I will either accept or oppose something. Actually, following before industrial revolution, all of us know the education and definitely the administration of our any society was being controlled by church, mosque, temples. So later on, following industrial revolution, the concept of democracy, democratic revolution, where it started to roll on, it created a havoc among the ruling dispensation. And the common people, those who were being ruled over, they started to think of, yes, we are being subjugated under the hegemony of these religious or religious preachers. So, and that has definitely obstructing the natural development of society. And following that, how many sacrifices in the annals of history you will go, you will turn over pages of pages, you will find thousands and lakhs of sacrifices following that. So now today, in 2026, we are now studying in Ravenshaw University. How much of us are aware about that sacrifice, that arduous struggle, and the lofty ideas now are being pushed into the oblivion. So we want to again to discover it and put forth before the society, particularly among the younger generation. So with that mindset, we are trying to develop some kind of activities. We are trying to put our endeavors. So I would like to thank to all of you to come here, to join with us, and definitely in upcoming days you will be a part of this forum with this much of willingness, with this much of hopes and expectations. Here I conclude. Thank you.
Some students have registered themselves to speak on the topic, and I would like to call them one by one. First one is Swagat Biswal, PG First Year Economics Department.
Firstly, thank you, Bobo, to Association for having me here and giving me a chance to be able to talk on this topic. Okay? Okay, fine. So, good afternoon, everyone, respected teachers, dignitaries, and everyone presenting here. I'm Swagat Biswal, pursuing my master's in economics. So, I'm someone basically who believes that life is not about choosing the destination, isn't it? It's about questioning the path that we are on. Questioning the beliefs that we have and what belief that we are having and choosing the path. So yes, is war are designed by imperialism? I'll go for it. Growing up, I used to believe that war is just very strong. It's something happening unaccidentally, like unavoidably it's just happening. But as I understood the society, the powers, the whole division, the people I'm into, I felt it was not natural. It happens for a reason. It was created artificially, like scripting conflicts. And what is that conflict? Scripting of that. So, wherever I go, wherever I see people about war happening and all these reasons, that was for a reason, for a cause it is happening. And war was just like that. Because let me be very honest, that in the office rooms, wars are just scripted, wars have been discussed, narratives are happening. But it is not the place where what actually took place. It took place in the battlegrounds. Where many lost their lives, where people sacrifices themselves for the well-being of others, being impacted actually, and children losing their homes, families losing their identities, and more importantly, humanity is losing itself every single time. And that matters. That actually matters for being who we are and making a choice of regarding what imperialism is. It's because it is not just ruling territories, not just choosing, but it was like sacrificing the choices that us individual or the country can make. It's about sacrificing the choices, the identities that we could able to make. And that was what it is. And just think for a while that if we have an option to choose whatever world, wherever we are living into, what we could choose. If war could design to hamper the whole world, why we cannot design peace? Right? Because if one can design the imperialism, it can happen anything. Why we cannot design the peace? Why power cannot be used for the sake of for the sake of calm, for the sake of healing, instead of dividing people. So my question was that, and is war designed by imperialism? Mostly yes, but imperialism could influence the things, it could narrate the things, but it might not decide everything. So here it stands, and if having an option as a change maker, I believe more importantly, if we have an option to do whatever we could choose to be a change maker instead of being a spectator. So with all love and solve this world, thank you for the time and all this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swagam. Now I would like to invite my friend Ravenshaw to speak something over the topic for 2 to 3 minutes. Please.
Very good afternoon to one and all present. This is Kushni. I'm from Political Department. Today's topic is already designed by imperialism. Of course, I stand, strongly with the motion of paper. Yes, war is the instrument and the product of imperialism. Let's understand what imperialism actually. Today, I stand spacely not just revisiting the history of imperialism, colonialism, rather we are here re-examining that history in a new form, that is new imperialism. See how new imperialism impacted. It's not just impacting on Iran, but us. Like it reached out on hostel manager, on daily life. It is impacting in a way how. Firstly, I would like to give, as I didn't prepare in this topic, but still I will try to give 4 or 5 arguments over it. First one would be oil diplomacy. Oil diplomacy is the imperialism. In a way, we will see how West Asia is burning. Firstly, that state of Hormuz is lifeline of our energy, but because of that control, that energy crisis make our life horrible. See, because of that imperialism it is happening. That only it ensured the US hegemony, Israel security regime, those big rich powers. In this big rich powers, it is only the poor who will face. Be it South Asia, East Asia, we actually, all these developing countries. It impacted our economy through well lifestyle. Second would be nuclear threat. Nuclear is a symbol of security, but security comes with powers, we'll say. But while security comes with the power becomes in terms of data, in terms of technology, anything. But then power ensure own identity. Next, Iran says that power through my nuclear program would be ensured, but Israel threat, oh, I am so small. One attack by Israel, I would be devastated. What would happen to me? So it's the time for my ally US, big power to help me. That is what. But you can say that, and I'm also analyzing just power theory of Saint Augustine, Saint Augustine and Thomas Aquinas, who was given that war is justified. When war is justified? When it fulfills the criteria of the ethics of any that suppose we could able to control the Palestine or Iranian girls' life, protection of civilians, all those. Because of defensive approach, war would be not necessarily security purpose or war would be justified. But now in this West Asia burning, all over happening, in West Asia what would happen? They must be control powers. Like who will lead to the West Asia? Whether it is West power, America, whether it is Israel, whether it is Iran, will command over, will capturing. It's not about mere just a it's about future powers. That's all we admit. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nusrat, for an analysis. I just saw a Marxist analysis in that, where generally we think that imperialism is an isolated political phenomenon, but actually it is a quest for capitalists. Quest for capitalists for their market. So after that, I would like to invite my friend Archana, PG First Year Political Science Department, to speak.
Thank you so much. My name is Archana. I'm a student of First Year Political Science Department. The today's topic is war, design imperialism. So after the globalization, the represent the term itself contains new imperialism. Imperialism is an ideology which says about when the powerful nations control the weaker nations. It is called as imperialism. It is mostly controlled through by using hard power, soft power, or economic impact. Economically control the weaker nations. Mostly after globalization, when the powerful nations controlling the powerful nations, mostly the economically powerful nations controlling the weaker nations, it is a form of new imperialism, which is after globalization. It is one of the negative impact of globalization, which increase dependency over the nations, but it is negatively increases the dependency. So, as the topic is imperialism how is it designed by the war designed by the imperial powers? So yes, because in the instability in the worldwide, as all we see, like the Israel and USA attack on Iran. So on what ground USA claimed that it attacked on Israel? Because USA want that in Iran there is a dictatorship, or USA want to change the regime, but Iran is a sovereign nation, and it is the matter between the people and the government, but not any third one. So another one is it claims that it wants that Iran not build its nuclear weapon, but deterrence is legitimate. So no one country can control or prohibit another country to develop nuclear weapons. Although Iran is signing the NPT, the Non-Proliferation Treaty, that it develop nuclear weapon and use for the civilian purpose, not for the other purposes, or for using in hard or military purposes. So what are the impact of it on the human cost and on other terms like geography and economy? And another one is the Iraq war. The second, which is also known as the Second World War, the United Nations imposition of the trade embargo on the Iraq, so that no one country can deal with the Iran or trade deal with the Iran. And another one is like in the recent Indo-Pakistan war, USA takes the credit that it will prohibit the nations from going or prevent the nation from going to the nuclear war. And another one is the crisis management. So it takes all the credit. But my question is here that who asks the question to the imperial power, who like the USA and China, who is withdrawing from the 66 international conventions that are urgent for all of us. So here is the topic is on the debating topic is war designed by the imperial power. I agree with it.
Thank you, Archana. She highlighted basically the dependency model, dependency theory, and in the dependency theory, I think the neo-Marxist thinkers they say that they highlight the structural imbalances within the capitalist political economy, where the metropoles they extract the labor, they extract the money from the peripheral states, and the peripheral states were subjected to some kind of what we call unequal exchange. So to Now it's the time to listen our chief speaker, Professor Manoj Das, and he will provide an academic understanding and a proper analysis on war and imperialism and its different spheres. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Respected Niranjan sir and my esteemed colleague Sangamitra Madam, Kirti sir, Amit sir. I can see many research scholars from economics department, my postgraduate students, as well as students from other departments. So, at the first place, let me thank the organizer to invite me and giving me this particular opportunity. As a speaker, actually I was sharing with my colleague Amit sir. As a speaker, at the first place I found myself misfit. Misfit in the sense that this particular topic is war designed by imperialism. Actually, this requires more philosophical, historical, political discourse than simply applying the economics reason. And as a student of economics, I am still learning various aspects of this historical context, political context, and philosophy. So that's why I found myself little discomforted while addressing this particular topic, because I found myself discomfortable in the sense that I may not be able to actually touch all those aspects that this particular topic requires. But honestly, if you will say, when the Vinod insisted me to deliver the talk, I could not deny him, because the way he approached me and the way he insists, so there was no option for me to say no. So it was a bad default yes. So thank you Vinod and Gopavandhu Vicharmanch for giving me this opportunity. Now coming to the topic, is war designed by imperialism. Very what you can say, very tough topic to be deliberated by a student of economics like me. But anyway, by going through the simplicity, if you look at the very meaning of this imperialism, as two students from political science and one from, I think, economics, they try to make sense out of this particular topic. What is this imperialism? As we understand, imperialism is the policy or practice by, as what she said, by powerful nation extending its control, authority or influence over weaker territories, often through military force, economic dominance or political manipulation. We understand imperialism by this. But the very core of this, as we all know, it aims to exploit foreign resources, labor and market for economic benefit of imperial power. That is what we understand. Now when we look at this particular term imperialism, which side by side with this capitalism, we know both are related, but imperialism is considered an advanced stage of capitalism, and capitalism focuses on private property and competitive market exchange, while imperialism actually, in fact, this utilizes state power, military force and monopoly capital to dominate territories, labor and resource for maximum profit. That is how we distinguish between capitalism and imperialism. But when we look at the key aspect of this imperialism, here Niranjan sir is there who will throw more light if I commit any mistake. So here the important aspect of imperialism is that it is driven by one hidden objective. And what is that objective? It is driven by the need for new raw materials, new markets, and strategic advantage as well as ideological movements. We will discuss this particular point in more detail using empiricals from economic theory. Now, what method this imperialists use actually? As we know, it includes direct colonial rule, occupying land or attacking someone, establishing puppet government, proxy government, or indirect economic control. This method they use to exercise their power. But ultimately, what happens? What effect we get? As my previous speaker said, frequently it involves severe political oppression, exploitation of local population, destruction of indigenous culture, and long-term global economic inequalities. This actually happened. But when we look at this imperialism or when we compare this with colonialism, it slightly differs. Why I am giving this definition? Because we want to focus more on this imperialism concept so that we will not be confused with capitalist and that colonial system. So it differs from colonialism, as we know, while often we use it interchangeably, but imperialism is the overarching ideology and policy of power extension, whereas colonialism is a specific form of imperialism and it involves settlement of people in new territory and the direct explicit control over it. That way we distinguish between colonialism and imperialism. Now, given this, the question, two important question I will try to delve here. One is, why imperialists, they want to expand? They want to expand their power, they want to expand their territory. This one question I will try to I will try to answer. I may not be able to full extent. This is one. And the second one is how they do this expansion. What are the mechanisms they actually follow? So there are a number of reasons explanation can be offered regarding why imperialists expand. You can get various clues from history, politics, culture, economics, philosophy, or even psychology gives us clue why imperialists they want to expand, why they want to dominate. The one important point raised by my previous speaker, and even the chair consolidated that statement, that there is a structural problem in the system, and because of that structural problem they want to expand regularly, otherwise that system will not survive. So what is this structural problem? This is one of the major reasons. Regarding the structural problem, if we use the economics as one reason, we can say there are various arguments actually. One argument is economic imperative, that is provided by Lenin, as you know. What is the argument he is providing? Here is the argument. Imperialism is the highest stage of capitalism, and he argued that war is the inevitable result of monopoly capitalism. When a handful of powerful banks, corporations control a nation's economy, they must seize foreign markets to survive. Why? Because anything that wants to expand, there is always a limit. So when these imperialists, they want to expand their economic power, they utilize the resource, always they will face the paucity of resource or resource crunch, we can say. And that is why to keep on expanding, they explore alternative source of raw materials, alternative market, or another territory, you can say. So here is the economics reason or economic imperative for which these imperialists, they keep on expanding, and when you will try to expand, obviously it will not be a free access, or there is no free entry to any market or any territory. There will be obviously conflict and war is inevitable. This is one important explanation given. Then another reason is the accumulation of capital. As you know, Rosa Luxemburg provided this explanation. The argument is, the Luxemburg argues that, or he proposed that, capitalism cannot exist in vacuum. It cannot exist in air. It requires non-capitalist environment, particularly colonies, to drain. War is the tool used to set free labor and resource from traditional societies into the capitalist machine. There is one economic theory that argues that we should transform labor from one particular sector where the productivity is low to another sector where the productivity is high. Right? So productivity is obviously high where there is capital or where we are using machine. So now when we will use this transmission mechanism, obviously we are targeting accumulation of more capital. So this is another reason why this particular system want more capital to feed itself for further expansion, and for this they search for additional territory, additional resource, or additional labor force. This is one reason. There is another reason why they also expand, that is called sociology of imperialism, and it was propounded by most of the economics students studying that business cycle, Joseph Schumpeter. He provided this explanation, and what Schumpeter is arguing, he argued that imperial states create a war machine that eventually takes on life of its own. The state begins to seek out enemies, real or invented, simply to justify the machine's exist. So, for the survival of the capitalist system, for the survival of that machine, you have to expand. So, this system, the structure is such that for its own survival, it requires additional territory, it requires additional resource for which it expands. And we will take more economics logic after understanding this explanation. Then, like my previous speaker, she highlighted about history and culture. There is cultural hegemony, as you know. Edward Said actually highlighted this reason, and the argument is, in culture and imperialism, Edward Said explains that war is supported by a consolidated vision, where the dominant culture views the rest of the world as a geography to be mastered. So they believe that the entire world to be mastered by us. Otherwise, our vision will not be fulfilled. So they have that belief system, and from where we get the belief system, we can debate some other way. So from these arguments, we can say none of us is completely free from the struggle over geography. This struggle is not just a military one, but also one about ideas, about forms, about image and imaginations. So this is the imagination created by imperialists. This is the belief system developed by the imperialists, and they want to expand. Now if you will go deeper into these regions, why imperialists want to expand, then if we will search for deeper cuts, then we can find there are regions. Probably the following reason we can say from economics, from literature, from culture, that explains or that offers the explanation why imperialists in fact want to expand. Though there are regions can be explained by political scientists like Sangamitra Madam and Niranjan Sir, people from history background, they can offer some regions, but here there are some reasons I believe explain why imperialists want to expand. One reason is, you can say this is one theoretical reason. We study in economics, we believe this economic engine for progress. You see, capitalism, when it expands or when the market expands, it cannot expand for indefinite period of time. It cannot expand in infinite in its size. It has its own limitation. So we can say, like our economic student, they study nominal variable, real variable. So price deflator is just act as a cover. It covers the real forces. Like this statement actually covers the real mission behind this. They are searching for their survival. Exploitation through this is inevitable, but they keep on propagating the story that we are here for a good cause. We are here for democracy. They do this through this mechanism, but there are other forms also. Like similar attempts has also been made, like white man's burden. One is manifest destiny. What is this? This is a philosophical stand they have taken here. The philosophical belief in the inherent superiority of white society that fueled American expansionism. So they have one understanding that we are supreme. So because we are supreme, there is no problem, it will keep on expanding. So that aspect is there. Another thing is there, as all of you are aware, that is called social Darwinism. The evolution theory you have studied. This is a pseudo-scientific belief that dominant nations were more evolved. They used to say, why we are dominant, why we have more economic wealth, why we have a better political system, because we have evolved and you people have not evolved with. So because you have not evolved, we have supremacy over you, and ruling you is not a problem. So this social Darwinism promote that, a social pseudo-scientific belief that dominant nations were more evolved, and thus they are responsible for directing or replacing weaker one. So that is what is the belief system. And if we go through different incidents that took place, you will get enough example. In my classes, I used to take the example of KKK group, Clan Klux Klux group, that is called white supremacists. So they used to kill black people secretly for a long period of time because they believe these black people are inferior, their gene is not so evolved to take the humanity for a long period of time. So they must be killed. We have better gene. So that was their understanding. So killing them is not a problem. That KKK you can search in Wikipedia. You will get what is the idea. That was so dangerous idea. And that idea is still in the minds of this imperialists. We are evolved, we are supreme, so there is no problem to govern others, and that is the reason they keep on expanding their territory, and they promote this through different mechanisms. One is they promote it through common imaginations, right? And for this common imagination, they use story like we are better, you are inferior. They use advertisement also. This system is better, that system is bad, and they create artificial boundary, like boundary of state, boundary of nation, boundary of a particular belief. That is artificially created. So creating this artificial boundary, they promote common imagination that we are superior, within this boundary we are superior, we have to expand to others' territory. So that is the way they used to do it. Now if you look at this war serves as a frontier where the dominant culture asserts its moral and intellectual superiority to justify the submission of others. So they justify their actions. But besides that, there are other arguments. Sir can provide other areas of argument that how historically, or there is another argument, sir must have aware about that buffer state aspect actually. The powerful nations use war to create spheres of influence, and because of that, why that Cold War happened. They want to influence their spheres of influence, and they use their power for that. But if you look at another aspect, some argues that imperialism requires a permanent state of war. Why they require a permanent state of war? Because they want to justify the suspension of law and expansion of the state power. To substantiate this point more, as you know, structurally it is defective, it must keep on expanding. For expansion, there must not be any law or order. So they have to break the law and order. So how you will break the law and order in one go? War is the only mechanism. So if there will be war, there will be no order. So they can keep on expanding their power. So that's why frequent war is inevitable as per this explanation. But the point here is how they persist. Okay, these are the mechanisms they use. How they persist? Our people are so full to be full. So how they do this? Now if you look at the entire mechanism, you will find the clue why they are able to do this very successfully. Here there are few examples that justify that why they are so successful of doing so. One point here is the wave of consumerism, and in few books, particularly Noah Harari argue that they talk about the romantic consumerism, right? What is this romantic consumerism? Normally we are accustomed with those things which we don't need at the first place, right? So you may take the example of different types of cuisines, exploring new smells, new taste, etc. So they use advertisement, they use behavioral economics, particularly nudging, in such a way we all are the slaves of new products. Because we are the slaves of the new product, now we cannot imagine ourselves excluding those products. So if you will exclude those products, you will imagine your life is gone. Means we are dependent on their product. So they have designed in such a way, they have nudged us in such a way, we are depending on their goods and there is no other way out. This is one way. Another thing is, you can say, they enter into this arena, this consumerism, in a very tactful and very systematic way. How they do this, I will give you one small example and why we become so dependent on them. Before that, let me ask you a bizarre question. The bizarre question is like this. How many of you have joint family? Joint family achi? You have a very good relationship with them. Joint family having very good relationship with them. Only 2, 3, 4 people out of this. Now here is a story actually. How they do this. Go back to 30 years. Now what do we mean by a family by that time? A family used to be a health system for us, right? At the time of your requirement, your joint family, your cousin brother, cousin sister or fatherly figure, they used to take you to the hospital or they used to provide you health facility. They used to be your education system. घरे पाठ पढ़ाउले सेही माने बाहर system, tuition, forget about that. They used to be your industry. If you want to establish certain thing, it is your family who used to finance you. Regarding your pension scheme, if you retire, who used to take care of yourself? It was your family. Regarding your news, you first listen the news from your family. Family was your radio, family was your television, family was your newspaper. Asi kohutla quote sunla mo bappa eta kahile, mo ma eta kahile, right? So earlier the family used to be a system in a different way. Now imagine regarding your health system, 108, no need of your cousin brother. Regarding education, nearest Ravenshaw helpline, Oxford, no need of depending on anyone. Your parent is somewhere else, your tuition teacher is taking care of that, right? Regarding pension scheme, I have invested in SIP, health insurance, I have got, no need to ask for the help from any relatives. Starting business, bank is there. So my point here is, now there is no role of family. Now everywhere you are finding the market. So there is market. When there is market, can you imagine yourself beyond this market? Can you survive excluding market? So now they gradually, they have taken away your family. They have taken away your society. Now you are depending on this market. Now we are unable to think ourselves beyond the market. Now they are using this market as a weapon. And we are dependent. We don't have any alternative. Just imagine you want to eat outside of College Square, but most of the shops are closed. Why? They don't have LPG. And even few shops are open. Please pay us 20% extra for rising price of gas. You imagine about your house, particularly urban area. You have to wait for 45 days to get your one LPG cylinder. Can you use old fuel system? No. So I am not criticizing this particular system, but what I am saying here that this system gradually enter into the system in such a way we are unable to visualize what is the next, and they replace everything with market. Now once you get market everywhere, market has its own limitation. It will expand to a certain context or certain extent. After that, for its survival, you will explore another source. For exploring another source means another territory, and someone must be there. It is not 13th century, 12th century or your PC where America was not explored. Now in each corner we know who is there. So if you will enter there, obviously there will be conflict, and the result is war. So my overall point here is the over dependency on market will inevitably lead to continuous conflict. Either it is in the form of war or in the form of economic war. You will impose tariff on us, we will also impose tariff on you. This is also a new form of war, or political diplomacy, sanctioning different things. If we will do this, we will not give you this. Right? So war is not always fought with arms and ammunition or atom bombs or your exploitive things. War is also fought with economic instruments, political weapons, and it is very much interlinked with this system. Right? So nowadays, if you will imagine, the economic sanction is more powerful. It is my belief. Economic sanctions are more powerful than the threat of one atomic bomb. So in atomic bomb you can threat, we will do that, we will do this. But economic sanction is more powerful than the atomic bomb. So with this, I conclude my speech. Thank you very much. For more, we may need to consult with other branches of social science. It may be history, politics, or even psychology. Thank you very much.